Okay, so there's different nice spots on the top of the shoulders. Quite a few of the acupressure points overlap with trigger points. And on the very superior top of the traps, we're going to press on the top of the muscle right next to the base of the neck. Some nice support down towards his knees. And, you know, you can just feel a tight that feels spot. As far as a spot to choose, if you're not on the exact acupressure point, it's okay. If you're on a tight spot, that's great. Similar to all of our compression that is slower, you just want to meet the muscle's tension with equal resistance and just patiently hang out. And you just take some nice deep breaths and relax. If the therapist takes nice deep breaths and lets their own shoulders drop back and down at their feet flat, that actually kind of helps relax the technique. So if I'm breathing and my shoulders are down as opposed to like this. Can you feel the difference in my pressure, Vlad? When I'm pressing like this? Yeah. As opposed to like this. Yeah. So if I have a lot of tension, I'm basically focusing a lot of my muscle energy contracting in my shoulders, and my fingers become less sensitive. So it's hard for me to focus on how much pressure would release the area if my shoulders are raised. The next spot is, in acupressure, is GB21. That's gallbladder 21. And for trigger points, it's the most common trigger point in the body, according to research anyway, and that is the upper middle traps trigger point. So upper middle, when I say it's upper traps in the middle, halfway between the acromion process and the mid-sagittal line of his body, right on the top. So that's GB gallbladder 21 and upper traps trigger point. Now, you can press this point straight down towards his feet, or you can actually grab the tissue between your hands, what is often called a pincer grasp. So you can actually take the upper traps tissue and squeeze it together and engage the point that way. Or if you need more pressure, you can even use a knuckle or even a forearm. This point is contraindicated in pregnancy, so if there's a chance that your client may be pregnant, you don't want to focus on this point with steady, static compression. Now, if you're just working the shoulders general, that's totally fine. Whether it's petrissage, effleurage, that's okay. You just don't want to focus just right in that spot. So we're right in the belly of the upper traps, pressing down. I'm now with my fingers doing that slight lateral rotation as my thumbs are pressing down. You could focus on one side at a time if you feel like you need both hands for better strength or position, or you could work bilaterally at the same time. In other words, both sides at the same time. Now, if you aren't sure how long to press, you could just press for a couple minutes. Take some nice deep breaths, and you will generally feel the tissue soften. Sometimes in that process, you'll feel kind of the muscle twitch before it relaxes. That is actually a trigger point release response. If it feels like it flutters under your fingers. When trigger points release, they tend to have a twitch response. You'll also oftentimes feel a therapeutic pulse. So as I'm pressing, I might start to feel like kind of hard and sometimes erratic pulse, and it might get bigger and bigger and more intense until it kind of crashes like a wave, and then it'll get nice and slow and steady. So as it starts to get more intense, you want to just patiently breathe and relax and hang out with it. And then when it crashes, it'll usually be nice and steady, and that's a good time to let go. That therapeutic pulse will sometimes bounce back and forth as well, like ping pong or tennis, and then after that crash and crescendo, they'll both usually be nice and steady. And if you don't feel the therapeutic pulse, that's totally fine. You will often feel the tissue softening. Last but not least, that bony triangle on the top of the shoulders, the attachment site for deltoid end traps, lateral clavicle, chromium process, spine of the scapula. At the lateral edge of where those bones come together, you want to find the soft tissue. I actually drew it on him a little bit incorrectly. On him, it's actually back here. So I traced the bone, bone, bone. That's right there. And then I find the nice soft, fleshy part where those bones come together. And that is a lovely acupressure point. And in general, this is true pretty much everywhere on the body. Also, whenever you work close to the bony attachments of muscles, those are really nice. Those attachment sites are generally really nice places to get the whole muscle to relax. This is especially useful technique on large muscles. For example, the glutes, where you have a big, strong muscle, or 3 different big, strong muscles in the case of the glutes. Sometimes it can be hard to work in the biggest part of the muscle, but if you work at the attachment site, you can facilitate a release. And I'm already feeling the muscle twitch, and now I feel the therapeutic pulse. And I want to just make sure I'm just breathing, my feet are flat, and it's softening, the tissue's soft.